Hey, thanks for clicking on this video. This clip is actually from a live call that we do every Monday at 6 p.m. If you'd like to know more or like to join us, the link is in the description below.
This is a question asked by Karen. She asked, like, when she sits down to do print on demand, like, what can she be expecting to do? And so we kind of preach like have a system, but we don't necessarily talk about like what that looks like, maybe. And it's hard to do like a generic thing. Like it's much easier when we're doing these one-on-one calls to just be like, okay, like what do you enjoy? What are the things that come naturally to you? And kind of work with the person to figure that out. But Stephen, if you had to give some generic advice to people who, when they sit down and they're like, okay, I've set apart this time to do print on demand, what's like a strategy that they can try so it doesn't seem overwhelming every time they sit down to do print on demand? Like, okay, now I've either got to start all the way from the beginning again, or I've got to kind of like pick up and I don't quite remember what I was doing. Maybe what's a way that they can kind of start making a system for themselves that when they sit down, they can just be focused and go right to work.
How we like to teach is showing you our process and then helping you build your system from that. I know that might sound a little abstract right now. I'm working with teachers to help me teach better to kind of get that concept clarified. But ultimately, we want to show you kind of how we got to this point. And then I know you're not going to be able to do exactly what me and Nathaniel are doing because I've been selling online for 15 years. He's been doing art for 15 years. We have a lot of experiences that we can lean on, but we do want to help speed up the time of learning and finding success. Small wins is what I'm always trying to get people to latch onto now. So wherever you feel like you're putting your effort in and can see some success, I would do that and almost start with that. Even though it might be very counterintuitive to what we've been saying in the past, I'm just finding that that seems to help people more now, especially doing a lot more of these one-on-one calls. It's like, okay, well, what is the part of the business that you like to do? And how can you do that to the point where you go, I've did this and I got this result. Now it'll motivate me to continue moving forward. Somebody that we were talking to was telling me about how people work out. If you work out for a month and you see you didn't lose any weight or whatever you're trying to do, it's very discouraging and it's very difficult to continue working out for the full year when you're not seeing that success. So what I'm trying to do is like shorten that time to see a win. I don't think it's possible to start any business and have success right out the gate. There are problems and stuff that you're going to run into in ways to problem solve, but focusing in on at least things that you enjoy and then making a goal for yourself and then accomplishing that goal, I think will help you go to the next level. So just like the gym, my friend was telling me, like, if you say I want to lose 10 pounds in a month, it's very difficult to do that. But if you say, hey, I'm gonna go to the gym every day for a week, at the end of the week you can say, hey, I went every day. That's a win for me. I'm gonna continue to go because I've set this out and I've reached my goal, even though it's a small goal and it's not the ultimate thing that I'm trying to do, but it gets me started. So that's what I would suggest. I don't know. I would have to see like what part of the business you like, but if you like doing keyword research, finding X amount of seed keywords and or landing zones, that's what I would suggest. And then once you kind of have that, then go, okay, now I've reached this goal, I've locked this in. Now let's create the art and then set a different goal for you. But at least now that you've gotten to that first hurdle, it I think will propel you to do the next step and then make a listing. The more that we've helped people, we see that, oh, if they're really artists, it seems to be they can start with the art and gather keywords that way. For us, me and Nathaniel, it didn't work out that way. He was asking for my help, and it was like I couldn't even fathom starting with a piece of art and trying to pull keywords from it. It was just not how my brain was wired. So we have found starting with the keywords works best for us. Focus in on the wins. Try to set a goal for you that you feel like you can reach. Then once you reach that goal, like continue to set goals and make the process work for you. Getting listings up, I think, is the most important thing. Regardless if they're the best listings or the most optimized or whatever the case may be, getting listings up, especially in this Q4 season, you need the most lines in the water as possible as you can get. That's where you're going to have success. Making one perfect listing is not as good as making 100 decent listings that are at least up there. Because as many times as I swear a design is going to work or a listing is going to work and it doesn't, and stuff that I say, hey, this is never going to sell, and then it sells, I've given up trying to understand the customer fully. I just know, hey, if I do this and I'm testing this, then I'll better understand them from what they're purchasing. Yellow and purple was like, I'm not the color expert, but who is buying this? And people are buying that yellow and purple But I guess like Lakers, that's their color, so I guess everybody's kind of different.
A conversation I actually had today on a call, and yeah, that was just that like art is so subjective, like what people like is so unique, that trying to like pinpoint something like, oh yeah, this is for sure going to be my best-selling design, I put so much time into this, it's almost always the opposite. It's almost always the one like, I'll throw it up there just to see if anything happens. And so usually that's the one that like takes off and starts selling like crazy. So just remember, you're not selling to yourself. If you think someone's already made a shirt that's like as high quality as possible, you could never compete with that. Just know that if you make a different variation of that shirt, if you take inspiration from them and put something else up there, there are still people out there that might think that your design that you made that you might not personally think is better is closer to what they would wear and what they're going to spend their money on. So it's still worth putting in the time to make those listings. Even if you don't think it's the most optimized thing in the world, it's okay. Put the time and the effort into that. Just build in that structure. Thanks for watching that video, guys. If you liked it, please leave us a like, or you can ask your question in the comments below. We are still doing those free coaching calls for the rest of this month, so if you'd like to sign up, that link is also in the description.